Folks, I am back down here in London this lunchtime. Reason is I am taking a coach again. Yes, and this time up to Leeds with Megabus. And I'll tell you what, I came down here on the West Coast main line this morning and the scenes at London Euston, absolute chaos. It's no wonder people take the coach sometimes, isn't it? And of course the other thing is, you're guaranteed a seat. Anyway, yeah, I have got a seat today, and yeah, it is with Megabus, and journey time is going to take approximately 4.5 hours up to Leeds, and getting there at 1900 hours. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and it's going to be a little bit of a different video this time because tomorrow I'm heading back down to London and I'm taking Flixbus. So it's a bit of a comparison, and yeah, it'll be good to see, wouldn't it, how the two stack up. Which one is ultimately better than the other, or are they both equally as good or bad? You know the drill. Come with me, we'll get on the coach and I'll see you in a bit. It was a lovely day in London, and as usual in the streets around Victoria coach station you can see a wide variety of coaches, including on this occasion one of the new Flixbus electric coaches parked up here on the Buckingham Palace Road. And what do you think of these? Good on the shorter routes for now, I would say, and yeah, I'm quite keen to try one out soon for the channel. Watch this space. Now, I've booked both tickets using the convenient Busbud app, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about Busbud a little later on in the video. Now, I crossed the road, heading for the front entrance as I always do, and my coach will be leaving from gate 15 today, the M72 Megabus series to Newcastle, calling at Finchley Road, Leicester, Sheffield, Leeds, my stop, Middlesbrough and Sunderland. Megabus do have a customer service desk at Victoria, and it was good to see that it was open at the time of my visit. I've never used it, but I'm assuming you can buy last minute tickets from here too. At 14:14 we were called for boarding. I'd arrived at the gate around 25 minutes prior to departure, and our coach was already parked up in the bay at that point, YX68UAT. One of the named Megabus coaches, Jensen Bussen, a Volvo B11RT Platinum Elite. Hi mate, just using the Busbud app if that's okay. No problem. Thank you very much. My ticket was checked prior to boarding, and I made my way to the front door, where you will find the driver's cab, 3 seats behind that, and the stairs up to the main deck. I hadn't booked a seat for either of these trips, so I just headed for the general seating at the rear of the coach. First impressions, absolutely terrible. I'll let you make your own mind up, and I would love to hear your comments on this, but yeah, the coach had clearly not been cleaned while standing at Victoria. Okay, previous passengers can take some of the blame for leaving it in such a state, and I totally get that, but surely somebody is responsible for cleaning it prior to its next trip. Empty bottles, food waste in the aisle, and some of the seats as well. Other customers commented on it too. Plastic bags had been tied to the armrests as per usual, but they hadn't been emptied either. I have never seen a coach in a state like this before. Not a good start. It was going to be a busy service this, so I decided to check out the seat whilst I still could. A little bit short in height. It's a little hard on the cushioning front. You have retractable armrests here and lap belts for your safety. The seat backs are quite disappointing, I think. No tables, no pouches, so basically no storage space for your food, drink or anything. The leg room, it's okay, but yeah, also note no footrests if you like that kind of thing. A USB provision between the seats is provided in the form of 2 standard ports, only one of which appeared to work after we got moving. And above your head is the standard arrangement of individual air vents and reading lights. Now, with everybody aboard, we left at 14:31. Now, I had managed to secure an empty seat next to me, though I did offer it to a lady further back so she could be nearer to her travelling companions. And no safety announcement was made or played by the driver. Nothing at all at this point actually, as we slowly made our way through central London. Now, I do like the first half an hour or so after leaving Victoria. There's lots to see, plenty of coaches and buses if you like that kind of thing, and lots of historical sites like the Wellington Arch here at Hyde Park Corner and the Royal Artillery Memorial shortly afterwards. Now, traffic was fairly busy for a Sunday, but by 15:03 we'd made it as far as Finchley Road 2 minutes early, where quite a few other passengers boarded. Now, as they were finding their way up the stairs and looking for their seats, the coach decided to drive off down the Finchley Road, continuing on its way, while most of these poor passengers were still moving up and down the aisle. Now, I'm not sure what the rush was at this stage of the journey, but from a health and safety point of view, this is totally unacceptable. We were very stop-start because of traffic lights and other traffic, and that only made matters worse, really. And, you know, there could have been elderly people on board. Anyone, really. Not good.
Right, so what's happened? We stopped at 15:03 at Finchley Road to pick up quite a few passengers, and we've left Finchley Road. We've carried on down the main street, and there are still people standing in the aisle. I'm presuming there are seats for everybody, but as of yet, I'm not quite sure. Why we've carried on again with people standing in the aisle, I do not know. But it's not good. I haven't seen this before on any coach journeys I've taken.
Eventually, about a mile down the road, and thanks to the help of other passengers already on board, everyone managed to find a seat. But yeah, at that time, well, I thought it just showed a complete disregard for passenger safety. Again, I've never seen this on any of the coach services I've travelled on before, but do let me know what you think in the comments below. We reached the M1 at 15:18. I noticed a sticker to my side enticing me to kick back and relax with the Megabus free Wi-Fi. Well, yeah, maybe this would have calmed me down a bit, I thought, but guess what? No Wi-Fi was available. Right, we hit roadworks just north of Luton. I was glad to be heading north, but I wasn't looking forward to them coming the other way tomorrow morning. And according to the local press, the roadworks to replace the central reservation barrier on this 11.2 mile stretch of the M1 started in January 2024 and isn't going to be finished right until spring 2025. Can somebody answer this really simple question? Why does it take so long? Well, 2 hours into the journey, we pulled into Watford Gap Services, or at least I thought we had. There were still no announcements of any kind from our driver. There was a driver driving this coach, wasn't there? Yeah, but as soon as we'd stopped, we just started again and pulled straight back out onto the M1. I've got absolutely no idea what that was all about. Absolutely none.
Right, so about 2 hours into the journey now, we've just pulled off to a service station, came to a halt. One or two people got up and then we just started off and got back onto the motorway again. So I'm lost for words almost.
Now, let's try and find a positive to talk about. Okay, one good thing about these coaches is that you are really high up, so the views are pretty good wherever you're sitting. And also, if you do want to pay a little bit extra, and if it's available, you can book a seat right in the front row, as I did in this video here. And yeah, the views are actually pretty much unsurpassed, providing it's not raining, of course. And price is the other positive, isn't it? A total cost for this one-way journey up to Leeds, just £12.76, booking with Busbud. A comparable advance ticket for the train, purchased at the same time as this, would have cost you £33.60. That's almost 3 times as much as the coach. We were due into Leicester at 16:55 according to the coach tracker, and we made it. Not the city centre, just a lay-by on the side of the road, Foss Park apparently. It was at this point that we heard our first announcement from the driver, who uttered the immortal words, "Customers for Leicester, please." A few people got off here, including, fortunately, the person sitting next to me. Would she be replaced? Well, quite a few got on here too, and we made our way back to the M1. I was happy no one had sat next to me for this part of the journey, but then, just like the shopkeeper in Mr. Ben, somebody appeared in the aisle and, yeah, just asked if they could sit next to me. Buggeration. Well, Sheffield next, and to kill time I tried out the toilet. On these Megabus coaches, it's located kind of mid-coach, down some stairs. Just follow your nose, really. It was a bit smelly at this point, but yeah, apart from that, it was better than I expected, to be honest. Everything worked and was available, other than there was no soap in the dispenser. Oh, okay, quite important this I know, but there was a handily placed hand sanitizer dispenser just outside the toilet door. Overall, yeah, not the worst toilet I've ever been in, and certainly not the best either. I returned to my seat. More roadworks here, and yeah, it felt like every time I looked out of the window, I saw 50-mile-per-hour signs. I would hazard a guess that on this particular route, there are more miles of motorway with 50 miles per hour restrictions than there are with the national speed limit. A Flixbus service passed us on its way south. It looked lovely in the early evening sun, but reviewing those guys would have to wait until tomorrow morning. And we pulled off at the M1 junction 34, getting into Sheffield Meadowhall 5 minutes later, 18:20. Again, a very minimal announcement from the driver, who omitted to tell us where we actually were. 30 minutes late leaving the city. I'm not sure about this. There may have been a driver change. Like I said, there were no announcements. Yeah, with these coaches, of course, the cab is at ground level, so to speak, so couldn't see anything. Basically, we were none the wiser. Anyway, there were quite a few empty seats after Sheffield, and the guy sitting next to me wasn't inclined to move, so I decided to relocate myself to the empty 2 seats behind the toilet for the last leg up to Leeds. That was a particularly bad move. The toilet actually smelt really awful at this point, and these are reserved seats too, so imagine paying extra for this stench all the way from London. Well, somebody had. And the smell was getting worse. Fortunately, I'd already eaten. And apart from that, it was a fairly uneventful run into Leeds, where, I've got to be honest, I was definitely looking forward to getting off. It was one of the worst vehicles I'd been on, and the driver, from London anyway, just hadn't been great. I mean, I don't like saying that on this channel, but it's all about unbiased reviews, isn't it, and my experience. I give plenty of praise where it's due, but if there are issues, I'm going to call them out. I'm afraid this ride with Jensen Busson had been the pits. See what I did there? Anyway, we arrived into Leeds a little bit late, but not too bad overall. I glanced back at the coach and made my way over to a nearby grassy knoll to sum up my experience of this first leg.
Right guys, Leeds at 19:10-ish in the PM. Yeah, well, Megabus, well, where do I start? Well, at the start, I guess, and it wasn't a great first impression. Boarding the coach, yeah, nobody cleaned it. So, yeah, the aisle was full of discarded food waste, empty bottles. The seats weren't much better either. Yet it had been on stand for a good 10-15 minutes before we actually were called to board. So, who's responsible for that? You tell me. And we left, we headed up to Finchley Road, quite a few people got on there. Poor passengers, they were still looking for their seats and the driver was off. So that's not a good look either, is it? Where's the health and safety, and where were the safety announcements? There weren't any. In fact, there were very minimal announcements. All in all, it was not a very pleasant experience. Let's trying to take the positives out of it. We were only about 10 minutes late getting into Leeds, so yeah, well, I'm heading back down to London tomorrow with Flixbus, and they're going to have to go some to be worse than this, I can tell you. What am I going to score it? I'm going to give it 4 out of 10. Right, I'm going to head off to my hotel now. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We drove past it, and there are loads of police outside. So, yeah. Can the day get any worse? Well, come with me, we'll find out. Also, I've got something to tell you when I get to the room. Right, I'll catch you in a bit. Come on.
Wow. Right then guys, so leg 1 is complete. What did you think of Megabus? Let me know in the comments below. Why did I choose Megabus for this part of the journey? Well, quite simply, they were slightly cheaper than Flixbus on this occasion, and I knew that because I was using the Busbud app to search and compare different operators and prices. Now, Busbud, as you may know by now, are a trip comparison and booking company that specialise in intercity bus travel in over 89 countries, one of which, of course, is the UK. Now for this journey I looked at both the outgoing leg and the return leg, and after typing in the details I was able to easily see which operators were running at which times and which one was going to give me the best deal. And as you can see here, we've got all the major coach operators, and Megabus were slightly cheaper than Flixbus, but then you've also got National Express, which were a similar price. Now, they're all even around about the same time with similar journey times, and as you can see, it's all detailed here in the app. And once you've clicked on your desired service, you get all the handy location details plus your luggage allowance details too. All the usual payment methods are available when completing your booking. You get instant confirmation and your ticket is available electronically, so you can produce it for inspection as and when required. Now when using Busbud, you earn something called Go Credits. This is the Busbud reward program that awards travel credits each time you make a booking. And it's free to join, and starting at bronze you can work your way up to platinum, and you earn Busbud credits as you go. The credits give you money off future bookings, so quite simply, the more you travel, the more you're going to save. And it's free to download the app and sign up and start looking at those trips. I've used it again for tomorrow's second leg back down to London. I'll tell you what, we're going to see how that compares with this trip today, aren't we? It's Flixbus this time, so quite an early start. I'm going to get a good night's sleep, so I'll catch you in the morning.
Good morning guys from Leeds, and right behind me there is the 002 Flixbus service all the way down to London Victoria, calling at the same places. We called that yesterday with Megabus, that is Sheffield Meadowhall, and Leicester, Finchley Road, and then London Victoria. So nice and early the coach is. I'm going to get on, find a decent seat I think, so come with me, we'll head for the coach.
I was staying at the Ibis Budget in Leeds, and the Flixbus stop is literally right outside the front door. There were several people milling about, including the driver, who was on hand to greet people and check tickets. Now what I didn't realise, or had simply forgotten, was that everyone had an allocated seat, and whether you'd paid to select one or not. I was allocated seat 8B, which is obviously an aisle seat, and not really ideal when trying to film the journey. I boarded the coach anyway, OY23CYH, 1-year-old Neoplan Tourliner, looking very lime green inside and out, but most importantly, it was really clean. And look at this, right, I thought I'd ask the driver if any window seats were available, and after checking his plan all the way to London, he said 1A was free. This was a total result. I would, however, have a neighbour for the journey, but this was fine by me, and expecting their imminent arrival, I thought I'd check out the seats before we left. The seat felt reasonably comfortable, similar in height to the Megabus one, but with better cushioning I thought. Armrests were only on the aisle seats, and these front seats had a rather neat semicircular fixed table with cup holders and a pouch beneath for all your belongings. A legroom was also decent enough here. Now there are twin USB sockets available between the seats. Above your head are individual air vents and LED lights, and there were curtains at each window. Now just before our planned departure at 09:10, the driver gave the safety announcement along with some other information with regard to facilities on the coach, including the toilet, and we were off, heading out of Leeds towards the roadworks on the M1. Their first impressions of both the coach and especially the driver were excellent. You know what? He was all about keeping his passengers happy and informed. He sorted out a seat for me in a friendly, helpful manner, not in a huffing, puffing kind of you're a pain in the arse sort of way. And it just made the start of the journey a relaxing and pleasurable experience. And a total contrast to yesterday's debacle down in London Victoria. Now this particular service, the 002, actually originates in Bradford, and I would say it was probably about 3/4 full at this point, and that does make a difference, doesn't it? In fact, the entire front row was empty when we left Leeds, so my seatmate was able to move over to the other side. That made the ride even more comfortable. Now, I tried out the Wi-Fi, which was excellent, probably the best I've ever had on a coach. There's no apparent 40 megabyte limit like there is with National Express, and YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, connected and streamed really well.
Take all your belongings and thank you for travelling with Flixbus. Also, please remain seated until we do stop at the bus stop. We depart from here at 10 AM. There is a Sainsbury's petrol station behind. If you want to go to a shop, you're welcome to do so, but make sure you're back by 9:59, please. Not 10 AM. Thank you.
Did you hear that? This is customer service done properly. And we actually arrived at Sheffield Meadowhall 8 minutes early at 09:47. Now, passengers were allowed a few minutes to stock up on supplies and stretch their legs, knowing exactly when to be back on the coach. And we left on time with a few people joining us at this point. I was lucky to still have no other passengers sitting next to me, and yeah, it does make a difference, doesn't it? There is no getting away from that. Now, if I'd have been further back with someone sitting next to me, of course it wouldn't have been as comfortable. And I did need to factor that into my thinking when comparing the two journeys. One thing that wasn't any different was the price. Exactly the same as the first leg. This one was at £12.76 via the Busbud app. Again, this is great value for money for a trip of this length. So the toilet check was next, and similar to Megabus, this was also located down some steps mid-coach, and it actually wasn't that great. And no toilet roll, the hand dryer didn't work, and it smelt a bit, probably due to the floor, which I reckon it did need a clean that. There was liquid soap and cold running water. As always, bring hand sanitizer with you, and toilet roll if need be in this case. The toilet actually was the only thing that was letting this coach down a bit at the moment, but yeah, it was to be partly rectified later on in the journey. And nearing Nottingham, we passed the Radcliffe-on-Soar power station with its distinctive cooling towers dominating the skyline. It's the last remaining coal-fired power station in the UK, and the next time I pass it by it'll probably be closed, as it is due to be decommissioned in September 2024. Now I've got to say, this was a really relaxing journey so far. The driving was smooth, and the temperature of the coach, despite it being quite busy, was just about right. We arrived into Leicester Fosse Park at 11:21, 1 minute late.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've now reached Leicester. If you are getting off, please remember to take all your belongings, and thank you for travelling with Flixbus. We have a driver change scheduled here. It shouldn't take longer than about 5 minutes.
Yeah, as you just heard, there was a driver change here, and I also had to move seats, and quite rightly, because a lady and her child had reserved them from here down to London. Again, our driver was helpful in telling me that the seats behind were free. Now, unfortunately, the replacement driver was stuck in traffic and hadn't actually arrived into Leicester, and we were due to depart at 11:30, but it wasn't until after 12 o'clock that the new driver showed up. The first thing he did, to be fair, was apologise to everyone, and then he checked the toilet, and then he put some toilet roll in. And we finally left at 12:10, 40 minutes late. Now, if things got really bad, I did have the option of getting off at Finchley Road, which wasn't a bad option anyway. Similar to Golders Green, a Finchley Road tube station on the Metropolitan line is right next to our coach stop, so it is a quick and easy transfer right into the heart of London. Now here's the thing. The numbering system on this coach doesn't seem right to me. I'd originally been told I could sit in 1A, and I assumed that that would be on the left facing forward. But according to the overhead numbering here, 1A and B are on the right behind the driver. So I'd been sitting in 1C, so figure that one out. Even our original driver hadn't noticed that one, and all the other seats were numbered in the conventional way. That was really odd, to be honest. I think it's just a mistake, but I do stand corrected if anybody knows for sure. And just to show you here that, the regular airline style seats, well, they all have flip down tables, seat back pouches and footrests if you need them. Again, legroom is fairly reasonable here, and I can assure you that the Monster Munch is nothing to do with me. I passed the time by playing a game of which vehicle I would choose on a car transporter. This one was a particular no-brainer for me. And by the way guys, I always forget to mention this, but nearly 80% of people who watch my stuff aren't actually subscribed to the channel. And if you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could consider subscribing, as I do lots of this kind of content. It's absolutely, totally 100% free to click on that subscribe button, and it would really help me out by raising the profile of the channel and helping me to make more videos in the future. Thanks very much for your support. And at 13:45 we'd reached the London ULEZ, which is pretty much at the London Gateway Services. That's the ultra low emission zone, if I remember correctly. And it was at this point that I decided I'd be getting off at Finchley Road. We were still running quite late, and yeah, I did have a train to catch on that afternoon. And mind you, it was with the Vanti West Coast, so it was anyone's guess whether that would be running or not, wasn't it? And catching the tube from Finchley Road did mean I could get into London quicker, and it would give me plenty of time to grab a coffee, just chill out for a bit in the park, and record the summary for this video. And the last thing you want to be doing is rushing about, isn't it? And yeah, as I've said before, Victoria Coach Station is a bit of a pain for onward travel, unless that travel is on another coach service. And it's at least 10 minutes walk to the tube from there in any direction. I've tried Victoria itself, Sloane Square, even Pimlico. They're all a bit of a walk. And my preference, to be honest, is Sloane Square, but it really depends on where you're going. Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments below.
Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the long delays.
Our driver there once again apologising for the delay and announcing our arrival into Finchley Road at 14:04, 44 minutes behind schedule. Now, I found out later that the coach actually made up a minute in time getting to Victoria Coach Station, and my train was delayed anyway, believe it or not, because the train manager was late showing up, and ultimately it never actually reached its final destination of Birmingham anyway. As I said before, maybe the coach is the more reliable option these days, so certainly no problem with this one. I disembarked the coach and made my way towards the underground, emerging at Euston Square, where I found a nearby open space in which to just take a minute or two to summarise both journeys.
Right then guys, I am back in London town, and what did you think of Flixbus? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, okay, we were a little bit late getting here, weren't we? But apart from that, I thought they were pretty good overall. The coach inside and out was in really good condition. The toilet maybe needed a little bit of attention actually. The drivers, both drivers, were excellent. They kept the passengers informed every step of the way. And yeah, unfortunately, we had a driver change at Leicester, and unfortunately the second driver was a little bit late due to congestion. It was really outside of their control. I'm going to give them a solid 8 out of 10. Yeah, really happy with Flixbus. Again, consistency matters, doesn't it? And on this occasion, they have absolutely wiped the floor with Megabus. And maybe wiping the floor would have been a good idea for Megabus when we left London Victoria Coach Station yesterday. But anyway, yeah, and it's a little bit of a shame, to be honest, because I know one or two of the Megabus staff, and they're really nice, excellent, really good service, but on this occasion they just didn't deliver. Maybe a different coach, different drivers, it would have been a different story. But yeah, I think the consistency with Megabus just needs to improve a little bit, because of Flixbus and National Express, yeah, I've had some really good journeys with both of those operators recently. Right, I am going to head for a train just over at Euston, it's not too far away. And don't forget guys, download the Busbud app, and you, like me, can compare operators, routes and prices, and then you make a choice, don't you, based on that. Right, thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you all on another adventure soon, I'm sure, and until the next time, cheers for now.